handling of several deadly police-involved shootings. The mayor survived these calls. And what changes actually need to be made in Chicago to repair that critical trust that has clearly been broken between the police department and the citizens. Joining me now to discuss, CNN law enforcement analyst, NYPD retired detective Houck, and CNN political commentator Mark Lamont-Hill. Guys, thank you very much for being here. Good morning. Let's listen, because look, we have seen, let me read the way that the Washington Post puts it. In a sense, the whole world seemed to know what Emanuel didn't seem to want to admit up front. The Chicago Police Department has a problem. That was then. Let's listen to him now, speaking this week very candidly.
My voice is supposed to be for those who are powerless, to make sure that their voice matters as much as those who are in power or have power. And we were adding to the suspicion and distrust, and I did not fulfill the job in the magnitude of being a mayor.
Okay, some may say we're glad to hear it. Some may say too little, too late. Mark Lamont-Hill, where do you fall on this as you look at the people of Chicago and what they need most?
Well, I think the people of Chicago need good leadership, but they also need structural change. Changing the face of Chicago, changing the leader, or making a new business manager of the same corrupted reality isn't going to make much of a difference. So removing Rahm Emanuel, yeah, it's a good symbolic gesture. It may help animate the base. I don't oppose it. I think it's actually a good move. I think it's time for Rahm Emanuel to go. But I don't want us to confuse the replacement of Rahm Emanuel or the removal of Rahm Emanuel with actual structural change. If we want to fix policing in that city and crime and corruption in that city, we need a whole lot more than a new mayor.
Harry, you've spoken about this extensively. First of all, it's not just about removing him easily. This is, first of all, Rahm Emanuel is not someone who goes quietly at all. I think you have to think about the vacuum or who takes his place, right? The future, not just getting one person out, who's going to do a better job. You say it comes down to community policing, and I think when people hear that, they think, oh, of course, that's just another line people throw out. You're a big believer in it. What does it actually mean, and how expensive is it?
All right, first of all, community, the police department isn't the only problem in Chicago. So, I mean, that's a step for the police department to be able to go out there and start community policing. Now, community policing means you put a police officer, and I've done this, on a beat of like 4 or 5 square blocks and let him to get to know everybody. I know it works because I did it myself in a black neighborhood in Irvington, New Jersey, where I was a cop. They had assassinated a white cop on my beat 2 years earlier also. So the fact that I went out there and I got to know everybody, what happened is I almost solved every crime on my beat. People need to know the police officer. All right? This is a start. But the crime is so bad in inner areas of Chicago that even if you change a police commissioner tomorrow, all right, a new superintendent, maybe some new chiefs, police have got to go in there and aggressively go after the criminals, because until that crime is down to a lower amount inside Chicago, no business is going to come in. Who's going to open a business when the crime is out of control in the inner city of Chicago?
There have actually been some big companies that have opened up factories on the south side of Chicago trying to go against the grain. But Mark Lamont-Hill, let's talk specifically about the Laquan McDonald video and the fact that the city paid out $5 million to the McDonald family before anyone saw that video publicly. This question of, I asked one of the surrogates for Rahm Emanuel this week, when did he see the video? She told me when the rest of you saw it, when the media saw it. But the question really becomes, when should he have seen it? But also, doesn't it become, should someone have been asking the city as mayor, why are we paying this family $5 million? What happened?
Of course, and I don't doubt that they just saw it. To your point, the question is why did they just see it? There's something called willful ignorance. There's something called plausible deniability. I'm sure they didn't want to see it because they didn't want to be accountable for it. But when you pay $5 million for a case that hasn't been resolved yet to a woman who hasn't even filed a lawsuit yet, it smells bad. And any leadership would ask, why is this happening? It's not just a Rahm Emanuel problem. I agree with Harry on this. I think it's a law enforcement problem. I think it's a structural economic problem. There's a range of problems. But when you see something like this happen with Laquan McDonald, it makes you wonder about a deeper layer of corruption in the city. But again, you don't ask these questions if no one's paying attention, number one. And number two, you don't ask these questions if you're running for mayor. A good question could be, if this comes out a year ago, does Rahm Emanuel win the election?
Harry Houck, to you.
Well, I tell you, I think that, like you said, Rahm Emanuel definitely needs to be stepped down. All right, and I think the city council also needs to step down here. I think there's a big problem here.
Let's be realistic. not so much in the cards.
Then not much is going to happen. I can tell you right now. Not much. The people inside Chicago got to start looking at who they vote for. All right. These people that live in the inner city ought to get together, start their own little tea party or something, all right, and get out there and vote for the right people that are going to come in and take care of the inner city. How much money, you know, went to different parts of that city, and they took all these programs away from the kids, basketball programs, baseball programs, all these programs that help kids get off the street. That's what they need to do. But the problem is, like Mark said, the problem is so large, where do you start?
Yeah, we got to start somewhere. I have to leave it there. It's important. We'll keep talking about it. Mark, thank you. Harry, thank you very much. We want to know what you think. What is your take? Tweet us.